The 3 English sentences that can change how you speak forever. Have you ever thought that just 3 English sentences could completely transform the way you speak? Not grammar rules, not vocabulary lists, just 3 powerful sentences that you can use daily. Welcome to Storyish English, your space to grow with English and grow within yourself. Here, we don't just learn words, we learn to believe in them. Most learners struggle not because they don't study, but because they don't feel confident when they speak. They stop, hesitate, or feel shy. But what if I told you, the right sentence at the right moment can unlock confidence? Here's something no textbook tells you. The way you speak to yourself matters more than the way you speak to others. So let's begin with this simple truth. 1 powerful sentence can make your English flow naturally, if you believe in it. Now imagine this. You're trying to say something, but you pause because you're unsure. In that moment, try saying this to yourself, quietly or in your mind. It's okay if I don't speak perfectly. I'm still learning, and that's powerful. This is your first sentence. Say it again. Let it settle in your mind. It's okay if I don't speak perfectly. I'm still learning, and that's powerful. This sentence isn't just a thought, it's a permission, a freedom, a mindset. Language is not about being right all the time. It's about connecting, expressing, growing. One of the world's most respected authors, Brené Brown, once said, "Owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing we'll ever do." And in your English journey, owning your mistakes and still moving forward is your bravery. Let's breathe that in for a moment. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep going. With the right thoughts and the right sentences. Here is my story. There was a time when I stood in front of a classroom with 20 eyes looking straight at me. And I forgot a very simple English word. Just one word. And in that moment, my heart started beating faster than my thoughts. I smiled nervously, tried to speak again, but nothing came out. I could hear the silence, heavy and loud. That day, I felt like a failure. Not because I didn't know English, but because I let fear speak louder than my voice. But here's the twist in the story. That moment didn't break me. It taught me something. It whispered something so small and so true. Your voice matters, even when it shakes. And I want you to remember that, because maybe, just maybe, you've had a moment like that too. Maybe at school, maybe in front of a stranger, maybe just standing alone trying to say something right. You see, English is not just a language. For many of us, it's an emotion, a dream, a small window we wish to open so the world can hear us better. But what keeps that window closed? It's not the grammar, not the accent. It's the voice inside that says, "What if I say it wrong?" The truth is, everyone says something wrong sometimes. Even native speakers, even writers, even teachers. Being wrong is never the problem. Giving up is. I know that now, and I wish someone had told me this earlier. You don't need to be right all the time to be respected. You just need to be real. And when you're real, people listen. That's when I started changing my own story. Not by joining a course, not by memorizing 500 words, but by changing the way I talk to myself. And that's what we're going to do together in this video. Not just speak English, but speak to ourselves in a way that builds belief. Because before the words come out of your mouth, they grow in your mind. And if you grow the right sentences there, They will guide you like a compass, even in silence. So stay with me, because in a few moments, I'll share with you the 3 English sentences that changed the way I speak and live. But before that, ask yourself gently, what kind of voice do I want to carry in my life? A fearful one or a free one? Because when the voice inside you becomes kinder, your English becomes stronger, your confidence becomes real, and your story begins to change. So let's begin where it matters the most, with the first sentence. It's simple but powerful. It's something I started telling myself every day, quietly, gently. I can try. That's it. 3 small words, but these 3 words can stand between silence and speech, between doubt and courage. You don't need to say, I am fluent. You don't need to say, I will be perfect. You just need to say, I can try. Because when you say, I can try, you allow yourself to grow. You give yourself permission to make mistakes. And that's where real learning begins. I remember standing at a bus stop once, scrolling through my mobile, reading a small English message someone had sent. It was so simple, yet I felt scared to reply. What if I write something wrong? I thought. But then I whispered to myself almost silently, I can try. And I did. I replied. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. And that was more than enough. You see, trying is the door to becoming. Every fluent speaker you admire once stood where you are. They too stuttered. They too made mistakes, but they didn't stop. They simply said, I can try. Say it to yourself now, even if your voice is low, even if you're sitting alone in your room, even if you've failed before. Because trying is never wrong. Giving yourself a chance is never wrong. But staying silent forever, that's the only mistake that holds us back. So today, let's begin not with grammar, not with rules, but with the courage to try. Because those who try write better stories. And my friend, your story is just beginning. And when I said I can try that day, I didn't know I was taking the first step toward something bigger than just replying to a message. I was starting a quiet shift in the way I saw myself. That one sentence began to remove the fear that had built up for years. There's a beautiful line in the book The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, a best-selling author from Germany who writes in English for a global audience. He says, realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. When I read this, I paused, and I thought, if now is all I have, why should I keep waiting for a perfect moment to speak English? Why wait for some future version of me who will be confident? Why not just try now? So I made that sentence, I can try, a part of my now. And you can too. You don't need a classroom. You don't need fancy grammar books. You don't even need hours of free time. What you need is this moment. This one moment where you stop scrolling, stop doubting, and simply say, I can try. Even if it's a small sentence. Even if it's just saying hello to someone or replying to a message on your mobile. Let that small act become your practice, because trying is right, and believing in your small efforts is right. People who become fluent didn't become fluent because they were perfect. They became fluent because they tried, and then they tried again. So say it with me in your heart. I may not be perfect. I may not be fast. But I can try, and I will. This is not just about English anymore. This is about the way you see yourself. And your new story starts now. Take a moment Close your eyes and let every word you've heard so far sink deep into your heart. We began with 3 simple English sentences, but they're not just sentences, they're survival tools, anchors, lifelines for those silent storms no one sees. This is not the end. This sentence isn't just a phrase, it's a reminder that even the darkest night cannot hold back the sunrise, that no matter how broken today feels, tomorrow still exists. You're allowed to rest, pause, even cry, but not to give up, because you are not done yet. I am not alone. How easy it is to forget this. In a world filled with filtered smiles and loud distractions, we feel unseen, unheard. But look deeper. Someone, somewhere, understands. Maybe it's someone online. Maybe it's someone in your past. Or maybe it's a stranger watching this video, breathing through the same pain. We are more connected than we believe. The world is loud, but you are not lost in the noise. And then, I can start again anytime I choose. Not just when it's convenient, not when others approve, not when conditions are perfect, but now. Even if you've made every wrong turn, even if you've burned bridges or failed dreams, you are still allowed to begin again. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's courage. That's freedom. And you know what? Even the strongest people you admire, authors, speakers, leaders, they've started over, many times. Their success wasn't a straight line. It was full of doubts, failures, and restarts. In the book Daring Greatly by Brené Brown, she writes, "Vulnerability is not weakness. It's our greatest measure of courage." And starting again, that's the most vulnerable and brave thing you'll ever do. Let's be honest, we live in a world where it's easier to fake a smile than to say, "I'm struggling," where people chase likes instead of meaning. But what if we change that? What if this video, this moment, becomes your turning point? Not because we gave you magic, but because you gave yourself permission to feel, to heal, to hope, and most importantly, to begin again, stronger, slower, softer. You're not a failure because you fell. You're human. And humans, we rise every single time. So now here's what I want you to do. Pause, breathe, look inwards. Then, in the comments, write the sentence that touched your heart the most. Maybe it was, "This is not the end." Maybe it was, "I am not alone." Or maybe, "I can start again." Let it be your anchor, your light, your promise to yourself. And if this video felt like a safe space, come back anytime. This channel, Storyish English, is not just a place for English learning. It's a place for emotional learning, for real stories, for human stories. Because here, your feelings have grammar, and your voice has meaning. Until next time, remember, you matter, your words matter, and your story is not over.